Mark Lowry has recently spoken out and shared something many fans have long wondered about: the future of the Gaither Vocal Band. For years, people hoped for a reunion of this iconic group that gave the world unforgettable gospel music. But now, Mark has made it clear, the Gaither Vocal Band will never come back together. His words were honest, emotional, and filled with truth. This wasn't about a fight or bad feelings. It wasn't a sudden or angry ending. It was the natural result of a long journey that had finally reached its final chapter. Mark revealed that while the love for the music remained strong, the desire to keep pushing forward with the demands of touring and performing has faded over time. This news left many fans in shock, but also gave them clarity and peace. It helped them understand that sometimes, beautiful things come to an end, not because they're broken, but because they've served their purpose. Mark's voice carried both sadness and strength as he shared how the group's story had naturally come to a close. The Gaither Vocal Band began in the late 1980s. Founded by gospel legend Bill Gaither, over the years, the group became one of the most loved and respected acts in Christian music. Their songs were full of faith, harmony, and emotion. They touched millions of hearts around the world. For Mark Lowry, being part of this group was more than just a career, it was a calling. The group was like a family to him, and their music brought him deep joy. But even with such great success, time changes everything. The long years of touring, rehearsing, and constantly performing eventually took a toll. Life on the road is not easy. It means being away from home, missing special moments with family, and always having to perform at your best. Mark shared that after so many years, the joy of performing slowly turned into exhaustion. It wasn't about losing love for the music. It was about recognizing that they had already given the best years of their lives to it. And now, it was time to rest and move forward. While fans saw the standing ovations, the powerful songs, and the strong connection between the band members, there was another side of the story. Behind the scenes, Mark and his fellow group members faced personal challenges that were hard to manage. Touring sounds exciting, but it can be draining. The constant travel, late nights, interviews, and rehearsals leave little time for rest. Mark admitted that it became harder and harder to keep up with the fast pace. There were times when he felt overwhelmed and questioned whether he could continue. The pressure to keep smiling, stay energetic, and perform flawlessly every night began to affect his mental and emotional health. He missed being at home with his loved ones. He missed birthdays, holidays, and quiet moments that truly matter. These were sacrifices that many people never saw. Mark said that even though he was grateful for the success, he started to feel emotionally tired. It wasn't about not wanting to sing anymore, it was about needing balance in life. He realized that even something as beautiful as gospel music can become too heavy when it takes you away from the people and peace you love. For Mark, being part of the Gaither Vocal Band was a dream come true. But over time, the demands of fame began to feel like a burden. While he always loved connecting with fans and bringing them joy, the pressure to always be on took its toll. He was known for his humor, warmth, and joyful stage presence. But offstage, he often felt emotionally worn out. The fear of letting people down, the pressure to live up to his reputation, and the emotional cost of hiding his own struggles were too much to carry forever. There were moments when Mark would smile and make people laugh, while inside he felt tired or even sad. He began to see that he was giving everything to others, but leaving very little for himself. This realization hit hard. It showed him that taking care of his own well-being was not only important, it was necessary. He began to speak more openly about these struggles, hoping others would understand. And many fans did. They appreciated his honesty and respected his decision to step away when it became clear that continuing the same way would hurt more than help. Mark Lowry didn't make the decision to close the chapter on the Gaither Vocal Band lightly. It came after deep self-reflection and prayer. For years, he had devoted his heart and soul to the group. He had shared the stage with talented friends, sung songs that inspired millions, and brought joy to countless lives. But faith isn't just about staying strong, it's also about knowing when to let go. Mark realized that he couldn't keep giving without also taking time to heal, rest, and grow. He said that spiritual growth sometimes means stepping back, even from something you love deeply. That's not failure, that's wisdom. Looking back, Mark didn't feel regret. Instead, he felt thankful for everything the Gaither Vocal Band had been. He knew that by stepping away, he wasn't turning his back on music or faith. He was simply listening to his heart and trusting God with the next season of his life. This quiet strength and honesty made his message even more powerful. Fans could sense that this wasn't the end of his journey, just the beginning of a new one. The Gaither Vocal Band left behind a legacy that will never fade. Their music touched hearts across the world, giving comfort, joy, and hope to people of all ages. Their songs spoke not only of faith and God's love, but also of life's joys and hardships. From classics like He Touched Me to Because He Lives, their music became part of people's lives during both good times and difficult ones. Mark and his fellow band members weren't just musicians, they were messengers of hope. Their concerts felt more like worship gatherings than performances. Bands laughed, cried, and worshipped with them. They felt like part of something bigger. A family brought together by faith and music. Even after the group stopped touring together, their recordings continued to inspire. The Gaither Vocal Band reminded the world that gospel music isn't just about sound, it's about soul. And while they may no longer perform as one group, their influence continues to live on in churches, homes, and hearts around the world. The Gaither Vocal Band wasn't just a group, they were pioneers. They helped shape the future of gospel music by mixing old-fashioned faith with a modern sound. Led by Bill Gaither and supported by members like Mark Lowry, Michael English, and David Phelps, the band brought something fresh and exciting to the gospel music scene. Their style was unique, blending powerful harmonies with uplifting lyrics and a strong spiritual message. They opened doors for new gospel artists and showed the world that Christian music could be both meaningful and enjoyable. Through their homecoming concerts, they united generations of gospel singers and gave new artists a chance to shine. These concerts were not just events, they were movements. Thousands of people came together to celebrate music and faith, creating unforgettable memories. The Gaither Vocal Band didn't just sing about God's love, they lived it through their actions, their kindness, and their commitment to excellence. Their legacy in the music world is undeniable, and their impact on fans and fellow musicians will never be forgotten. Despite these changes, the band's music remained just as impactful. New members joined the group, bringing fresh energy and new perspectives to the music. The Gaither Vocal Band adapted and grew, but its core message of hope and faith remained unchanged. The music may have evolved, but the essence of what made the Gaither Vocal Band special, its ability to connect with people and inspire them, never wavered. Looking back on the Gaither Vocal Band's legacy, it is clear that their impact on both the fans and the industry is immeasurable. They helped shape the sound of gospel music, bringing it to new audiences and ensuring that the messages of faith, hope, and love world continue to be shared throughout their songs. For fans, the Gaither Vocal Band was not just a group of talented musicians, they were a source of inspiration, a reminder of the power of faith, and a constant in a world that often feels unpredictable. Their music continues to live on, not just through recordings, but through the memories who have been touched by it. The Gaither Vocal Band's legacy is not defined by the number of albums sold or the number of awards they received, but by the countless lives they touched with their music and their message, and for it they will always be remembered, as one of the most influential and beloved groups in gospel music history. As the Gaither Vocal Band's era came to an end, fans in the music industry were left to wonder what comes next for Mark Lowry. The legacy of the group for years. Band had been an icon in the world of gospel music, bringing together a diverse group of talented musicians who not only performed powerful songs, but also connected deeply with their audience. Mark Lowry, with his unique distinctive voice and songwriting, was a key part of the group's success. But with the end of this chapter, what does the future hold for him, and how will the Gaither Vocal Band's legacy continue to live on? For Mark Lowry, the road ahead is still rich with opportunity. While his time with the Gaither Vocal Band may have come to a close, his career as a solo artist, speaker, and songwriter is far from over. Mark has always been a multifaceted for him, and over the years, he built a career that wasn't just about singing. He was also known for his witty sense of humor and ability to engage audience with his storytelling. This unique blend of humor and heart has been a hallmark of his work, and it's something that fans continue to appreciate even after his departure from the Gaither Vocal Band. Solo career has always been distinct, with albums like Mark Lowry, The Best of Mark Lowry, and Jingle Bell Rock showing off his personality and talent as a performer, while his work with the Gaither Vocal Band is a big part of his legacy. His solo projects have given him a space to express himself in ways that are unique to him as an individual artist. Mark's talent for connecting with audiences has never been confined to just singing. His speaking engagements, often laced with humor and deep spiritual insights, have made him a beloved figure among fans who appreciate his authenticity and down-to-earth personality. In the years following his time with the Gaither Vocal Band, Marcus continued to tour and perform not only as a musician but also as a speaker. The ability to weave humor with meaningful messages of faith has resonated deeply with people, and it's clear that he has carved out a special place for himself in the Christian music community. Even without the band, Mark's presence is still felt in the industry. He's a sought-after speaker at church events, conferences, and performances, and fans continue to support him in his solo endeavors. While Mark's career continues to evolve, the Gaither Vocal Band's legacy remains an undeniable force for many. The group represents a golden era of gospel music, a time when Mark Lowry steps into the next chapter of his life. He does so with peace, gratitude, and hope. He's not leaving music behind, he's simply moving forward in a new way. His journey with the Gaither Vocal Band will always be a precious part of who he is, but now he's choosing to care for his own heart and well-being. Mark wants to continue creating, inspiring, and connecting with people, but on his own terms. He hopes that fans understand that walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing what's right for your soul. His message is a reminder to all of us. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to step back, take care of yourself, and trust that something beautiful still lies ahead. The Gaither Vocal Band may never reunite, but the memories, the music, and the message will live on forever. And in that, their legacy is complete. As Mark Lowry reflects on his years with the Gaither Vocal Band, it's clear that his time in the group helped shape not only his music career, but also his personal and spiritual growth. Being in the spotlight for so long taught him valuable lessons about balance, self-awareness, and the cost of constantly giving to others. In interviews, Mark has often shared that his sense of humor became his coping tool, something that helped him and the audience laugh through life's challenges. But behind the laughs was a man constantly growing in wisdom and maturity. He began to see that staying healthy mentally, emotionally, and spiritually was not just important, it was necessary to continue serving others. His journey is something many people can relate to, whether it's working a demanding job, caring for a family, or serving in a ministry. We all reach a point where we have to pause and ask ourselves, am I okay? For Mark, that moment came after years of faithful service. Instead of pushing through the pain, he chose honesty. That honesty didn't just help him, it helped others see the value of listening to their own needs. His choice to walk away from the group wasn't weakness, it was strength, it was growth. And it set an example for others, that sometimes stepping away is exactly what faith looks like. While Mark Lowry is one of the most beloved and well-known faces of the Gaither Vocal Band, it's important to remember that the group's magic came from many talented individuals over the years. Bill Gaither, the founder and steady hand of the band, built the foundation on which the entire group stood. His vision for combining traditional gospel music with a modern flair was groundbreaking. Then came voices like Michael English, whose emotional delivery moved audiences to tears, and David Phelps, whose range and power took performances to an entirely different level. Each member brought something unique. Wes Hampton, Guy Penrod, Russ Taff, and others added layers of harmony and emotion that fans came to cherish. The chemistry between these singers wasn't just professional, it was spiritual. They shared not just a stage, but a mission. They traveled together, prayed together, and lifted each other up through tough seasons of life. And while some left the group earlier than others, their contributions were never forgotten. Each of them helped shape the group's sound, character, and impact. Mark Lowry often credited his fellow bandmates for inspiring him and challenging him to grow. The Gaither Vocal Band was never just one voice, it was a chorus of hearts beating for the same purpose. Though they have now gone their separate ways, the spirit of unity and love they carried still lives on in their music. Now that the Gaither Vocal Band has officially reached the end of its journey as a united group, fans are naturally left wondering what's next. For Mark Lowry, the answer is hope. While he has stepped away from the stage with his former bandmates, he hasn't stopped creating or inspiring. In fact, Mark has continued to perform as a solo artist, share his heart through spoken word and music, and engage with fans through social media and live streams. His comedy tours and solo gospel performances have drawn crowds who still long to hear his voice and feel the warmth of his storytelling. He remains a man of deep faith, and his platform continues to be a space where others can find encouragement, joy, and comfort. Mark has also expressed interest in mentoring younger artists, passing on the wisdom he's gained over the years. For the fans, the journey doesn't end either. The music of the Gaither Vocal Band lives on in recordings, DVDs, and memories that can still touch hearts today. Fans can take comfort in knowing that even if the group never reunites, their message continues. They sang about grace, love, and hope, and those things never go out of style. As new artists rise in the gospel music scene, they carry with them the legacy of groups like the Gaither Vocal Band. And that means the story isn't really over. It's just moving into the next chapter.